I'm not gonna lie, I read a quote the other day and it really like resonated with me, and it was an entrepreneur, a businessman is someone that jumps off of a cliff and builds a plane on the way down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the knowledge is one thing, but if you don't apply the knowledge, you know, what is the knowledge doing? So I'm really quick to just apply things. If today I learned how to fix someone's credit, tomorrow I'm helping people do that. You know what I mean? You know, a credit profile, a credit score is basically compiled of a bunch of other little factors, which is like your payment history, your utilization, how many accounts you have open. The thing that has changed my life was this one book I picked up when I was like 17 years old, and it's called The Master Key System.
Welcome back to the Billionaire Podcast. We're here with Zuri, the credit guy. You know, he helps you get funding. You know, he helps you, with structuring your business in a way where you can access more capital, right? So we're here with Zuri in Miami, one of the greatest cities, for all the networking opportunities. And we're here networking with Zuri. He's teaching us a lot of stuff. We have businesses in the US, and the same knowledge can be applied to businesses overseas or people who want to come here. He can actually help you get established, right? So Zuri, respect for being on the Billionaire Pod.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. It's a blessing to be here.
Yeah, and this guy is actually into cars too, and I love cars. He drives stick, so he's a real driver, he's a real cool guy, right? So Zuri, can you just tell the audience, that might not know you, a little bit about yourself, your name, where you're from, what you do?
Yeah. My name is Zuri. My full name is Zuriel, but I really go by Zuri. I've been really in sales most of my life. I've really been doing a lot of sales and shit, but the majority of what I focus on now is like I said, credit, funding, business structure. Yeah. And I came like from a long path of just like jumping around doing different stuff, but everything's always been sales, you know?
So everything has always been sales. So what are some of the things that, in terms of sales that you've done?
I mean, when I was like 17, I started selling women's shoes at Nordstrom, and I was making like 10% commission on all the shoes, Gucci, Chanel, Valentino, Dior. So like, it was good money, and I started like seeing like, wow, like commission-based sales and dealing with people is like, it gives you the biggest return. You can work really hard on an hourly based job, and your coworker is not really gonna work that hard, and at the end of the day, y'all gonna make the same amount of money that hour, But in commissions, when you push yourself, like, there's no cap.
So what's part of that mindset? Because a lot of people would just be, working a job, for example, at a Nordstrom and be like, okay, I'm cool with the amount of money that I'm making on a monthly basis. I'm just doing bare minimum to just get by and whatever, right? What's part you to actually be the type of person where you're thinking about, okay, I can make this amount of commission per that. I'm going to implement certain strategies to basically get more sales so I can make more money. What's part you to be that mindset?
Being at Nordstrom definitely helped me, because I was seeing people come in and spend $5,000-$10,000 in one go. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
that's crazy. On one day shopping spree, I'm like, how do these people make this type of money? Yeah. And I would sit there and talk to them, and people would do real estate, and I'm a trader, I do car rentals, I'm a doctor, whatever, Yeah. And I just started thinking in my head, like, how can I make that type of money? How can I make that type of money? And that's really just been my mindset my entire life, is just like, how can I get to this point, this new, peak? And it's just been like peak after peak after peak.
Yeah. So in terms of like just pinpointing the mindset part of things, right? Because not everybody has the same mindset where they're like, okay, I can go out and I can get exactly what I want. Most people have the mindset where they just take what society gives them, right? In terms of like networking and talking to people and being just so confident in talking to people that after they get sales and stuff like that, what, was that point where you actually started to that? Was it something that you were born with, or is it something that you developed over time? Or what was the catalyst for that?
Right. I think it's definitely something I just developed over time. My mom, when I was growing up, bless her, she always would push me to just talk to people and stuff. When I was a kid, I used to be shy. Yeah. And my mom would tell me like, oh, here, take the money and go pay the lady, and I would have to go and talk and interact with people. And then like the older I got, I just loved people. I was always talking to people after, just being able to open up. Yeah. And like I said, being in sales and stuff just made me comfortable to it, and I'm the type of person that kind of just like, I go with the flow, and it's easy for me to catch on to things and just, I'm a quick learner at the end of the day. So you put that with like just the environment I was in, and it kind of just built my mindset. And I've also invested a lot of time into like self-development. Neville Goddard is someone like that hugely influences me.
Yeah.
And like everything begins as a thought in your head. Yeah. Everything begins as a thought in your head. You know, like you want to go out and do something, it begins as a thought. Oh, I want to do, how am I going to do it? Okay, I got to get this amount of money. I got to look fresh, this, that, and the third.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, it all comes together, you know?
Yeah.
Like today, you feel me? We got out the shower, whatever, like, damn, we want to look fresh for this podcast. What do we have to wear?
Put it on the drip, you know?
It starts off with the thought, you feel me? It's small, but it's really what it is.
Yeah, so in terms of like, you know, that aspect, because that is marketing basically, because sales correlate with marketing, right? So you have to be able to market yourself well by carrying yourself a certain way,
For sure.
right? So in terms of like getting into that, did they get into that because you were working at Nordstrom, or did they get into that just because of, okay, you started to make more money, so okay, I want to look fresh, or I want to do whatever. I'm networking with certain type of people, so I gotta get a certain type of watch or car and stuff like that. Like what basically helped you to move towards, okay, I'm going to start branding my personal self.
Right. Well, shoot, man. I mean, I started going out with people, and once I was working at Nordstrom, I would wear these brands because I would get like a huge discount on them.
Yeah, I gotta put me on.
and you would see like people just start treating you differently and shit.
Yeah,
you feel me? You walk into a spot with a huge diamond chain and a nice watch and some nice drip. Yeah. People are gonna be like, damn, what does this guy do? Who is this guy? Let me talk to him. This, that, and the third. So you'd be surprised what like you have on your body like could open doors to, you know?
Yeah. So you gotta invest in yourself, invest in the image,
sure.
and invest in the right people to actually get to where you want to get to, right? Let me ask you, in terms of your like some major successes that you've had in terms of like sales and marketing, like would you be able to actually highlight like probably 3 of your top successes?
My what?
Your top 3 successes in terms of sales and marketing.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I've had so much success throughout the years, but I mean, some of my big successes has just been through building relationships and being able to, you know, network and always talk about what it is that I'm doing and I got going on. But my 3 biggest successes, I mean, shoot, I've closed some really big deals in real estate. I've been able to get a lot of money through funding clients, and then, you know, as well as just day-to-day stuff. Like I said, I have a music production company. Yeah. So I've closed some really big deals when it comes to marketing and helping develop artists and stuff, contracts and stuff.
So how did you transition from, you know, a Nordstrom salesperson to, you know, Zuri, the credit guy, the funding guy, the guy that is doing all these music production and sales and marketing for those type of things? Right.
Yeah. I mean, music's always been my passion since I was like young. I always wanted to be like a rapper, an artist.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really. Once I started doing that, I realized like, yo, if I want to be an artist, it's not gonna be quick money. I'm gonna have to be in this for like a long time before I really blow up.
Yeah.
And I really wanted money fast. I wanted money right there. So I just was recording myself, and I got really good at recording myself, making myself sound good. And I started helping other people do it. And I was working at Nordstrom making good money. And then COVID came and like shut everything down.
COVID was a blessing, honestly. True. Really.
For a lot of people, for real, it was a blessing for me too. You know, and I think the most important thing is being able to take things that happen to you in life and make the best of it, and realize that, you know, everything that happens to us happens for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
But I was in music. COVID came. I left Nordstrom. They furloughed me because all the stores closed, and I started working at a studio for free.
Oh, they fired you?
Fired me, not really. They just closed the store. So they were like, oh, like, you don't have a job right now. Yeah. When we open back up, we'll give you a call.
Yeah.
And I started working at the studio, just like working on my craft, really getting good at what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting into a disagreement with the owner, and I ended up leaving that studio. And I was like, damn, like, you know, I wasn't making that much money working at the studio. It was more of a passion thing. But once I left, I realized, I was like, damn, I left this job at Nordstrom. How can I make some money? And I got back into sales, commission sales. I was doing like door-to-door solar, and that worked out for a little while, but that sun was killer. I don't know if y'all have ever done door-to-door sales. That shit is not easy, bro. You feel me? But I was killing it. You feel me? But I left that and I started selling these real estate courses for like 30 grand, 60 grand. And it was like a business in a box, basically. And they would just do the whole thing for you. Just pay 50, 60 grand. They would find the deals for you, manage the projects, like plug in the money, help you find hard money lenders. So I started selling those courses, and I started going through high ticket closing training. and they would teach me how to become a high ticket closer, how to talk to clients, so on and so forth, how to cold call. And that's really when I like was exposed to like how deep this whole sales training goes, you know, like from the way you answer the phone to the way you talk to people and your tone of voice and you know, everything, how you handle rejection and stuff. Like, it's very important. And, you know, I received that training. I started doing really good at the high ticket sales. And I realized how much money there is to make off of real estate. And, you know, I didn't have enough money to buy real estate myself. So I was talking to the owners of that business, and they were telling me, you know, we leverage our credit. Our credit is everything. Yeah. So I started venturing into the world of credit. And, you know, that mixed with real estate has really given birth to what I'm doing right now and everything that's come to pass.
That's so crazy, bro, because like, out of everything that I've heard you said just a while ago, like it's like everything is connecting, or you know, the universe sends things to you based on the word that you're putting in, right? So it's like you started off at Nordstrom and you were, you know, selling, making small commissions. COVID came, worked at the studio for a little while, right? And then, you know, that disagreement, you know, you can't really look at it as a bad thing, because it's a good thing. That's why we're probably here right now, you know? Right. So it's like you move from the studio back into sales, right? Which is the real estate sales training and stuff like that. You learn a bunch of stuff in terms of like closing and all of that. And I'm pretty sure like you invested money into all of these things, right? And that's you basically paying for mentorship and stuff like that, right? Guidance or knowledge, or even putting in the time to learn that, right? And then you actually move from, this is just me summarizing what you just said. So, and then you actually move from that now into, okay, selling real estate. Then you started to network with the owners, getting information on them. Okay, how do I buy stuff now? You know, I'm selling the courses here, but how do I buy stuff now, right? Right. Yeah, and then that actually put on a different level, because you're able to get knowledge from them, and then even start a business out of that, where you're able to offer people funding yourself now. You're able to actually help people build their credit and build their business and structure it the right way, so that they can actually leverage it. And as you were saying earlier, 10x their income, right? Or their current
buying power.
Current buying power, right? So, and that is what, for example, even me, I'm trying to do, because I am a person where I spend a lot of cash on stuff, you know, in terms of like, it's always from a debit card, or so, because that is the culture that we grew up back in Jamaica, right? So it's like you reach a certain level of wealth and you plateau. But most of society don't really understand that, you know, the highest level of rich is rich on debt. You know, when it's rich on debt, right? So when you actually are able to actually use other people's money, and we were even talking about it yesterday when we were doing the pod, right? When you're able to actually use other people's money, you know, you're able to actually 10x, 20x faster, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of you being able to do that and getting the knowledge from these people, like, how are you able to actually piece it together to then be able to reach the level where you're at right now, in terms of, okay, you're able to buy into different properties, and you're able to offer funding and even teach people how to build on this thing, or you're able to actually package that into one thing and offer it to others so that they can actually grow.
Right. So what was the question?
The question is, right, you got the knowledge from all of, you know, the struggles of learning how to selling real estate, you know, networking with different people, finding out, okay, how did they do this? How did they access credit? Or are they able to actually buy into certain properties, right? And then you got this. How did you manage to package it into something that you can actually use and make it work? Because most people, you can tell me or tell a person, hey, man, I'm into real estate and I get credit from this bank, that bank, and you can run down the details with them, but they can never do it as good as you, right? So or you have to package it into something that you can actually utilize, and then you can probably replicate it because you have a community as well.
For sure.
Too. So how are you able to actually reach that level where you're able to do that?
Right. So like, man, it was a lot of trial and error. And I'm not gonna lie, I read a quote the other day and it really like resonated with me. And it was an entrepreneur, a businessman, is someone that jumps off of a cliff and builds a plane on the way down. Yeah. You know what I mean? and that's some real shit, because a lot of the stuff that I've done, like I would talk to people and I just have the opportunity to talk to someone like yourself, for example, like, oh, I have a lot of cash, I have no credit, this, that, and the third. And I'll be like, oh man, yeah, I knew all the knowledge because I would read it. Like I'm the type of person that goes home and takes notes, like journals full of notes. I would just tell them, look, we can do this to your credit, optimize your credit. We need 10 accounts. We need 100% payment history, below 10% utilization, this, that, and the third. And they're like, okay, perfect. Well, I need a hard money lender. Oh, don't worry, I got that. You know what I mean? In reality, I don't have that. You know what I mean? And then he's like, oh, I'm ready to go, this, that, and the third. Where do I send you the money? Oh, right here, boom. He sends me the money, and now I'm in action. I'm sitting with $5,000 in my account, and this guy expects me to make it happen. So like, you know, and I made it happen.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't take risks like that, not knowing that I would have the network to make it happen. But at the end of the day, the reality is that through, I think it's 8 or 9 points of contact, you can reach out to anyone in this world, you know? So, you know, it was mostly just finding opportunities and presenting them to people and then making it happen as I go. And then the path kind of just created itself, and then I would just lead other people into it. So through that path, I was able to create relationships with hundreds of different hard money lenders. I spoke to a bunch of people who did credit repair before I did credit repair, did funding before I did funding, used them to build relationships. I would bring clients and say, yo, help me with this person and this, that, and the third. And I would pick up on game, and then I would be able to do it on my own. Or I would talk to them, you know, I'd be like, yo, how'd you get that person approved for $30,000 on that credit card? And they would tell me, oh, I know this person that did oh, you just put me in a group chat with that person. This, that, and the third, like, you feel me? And it's just like networking and doing it as I go that really was able to facilitate everything, because the knowledge is one thing, but if you don't apply the knowledge, you know, what is the knowledge doing? So I'm really quick to just apply things. If today I learn, you know, how to fix someone's credit, tomorrow I'm helping people do that. You know what I mean? And that's really how it is, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and take this course, and I'm not gonna do anything until I know everything in and out. You know what I mean? Like, and they'll sit there for years trying to figure out the course and how to trade and this, that, and the third, instead of just learning through trial and error. You know, there's some things that a book can't teach you, that school can't teach you. You know, like me personally, I dropped out of college. You know, like I went to college for business. And I was like one of the top students in my class. I would answer all the questions. The teacher would be like, oh, don't answer. I already know you know the answer. This, that, and the third. And like, I just ended up leaving school, because when you go to school for business, how are they going to teach you how to run a multi-million-dollar business when you're sitting in front of a professor that's making 300, 200K a year? Not even that, you feel me?
Textbook regurgitation. Most of them are just
It's just like memory.
You know, so for example, a person wanting to start right now and coming from, for example, Puerto Rico or Venezuela or wherever, right? They want to start and they come to the US and they're like, hey, I got some cash, or hey, I don't have any cash, but I want to become, you know, on the level that you're at. Right. How would you guide them to do that, you know, in terms of utilizing credit, establishing credit and stuff like that? What would be the step-by-step process that you'd give them to do that?
For sure. I mean, I would definitely tell them to first, you know, open up an LLC, and they can start operating through that LLC here in America. And then eventually, there's even ways where you can have an LLC that gives you a work visa. So it's basically an LLC that you own, but you structure it in a way so it doesn't look like you own it. And that LLC can actually give you a work visa, and you can come here and you can get your I-10, work on getting your social security number. And then you can start like building that up, you know, little by little. Or if you don't want to do it yourself, you can find a friend of yours that has an LLC and they'll give you a work visa. You know what I mean? It takes time to create these LLCs and be able to just give someone a work visa. You know what I mean? You don't just like create an LLC the next day you could do that, you know?
How long does the work visa last for though?
It lasts like quite a while, for a year, that you could keep renewing it. You know, I'm sure there's a limit. It's different for everyone though. You just have to apply and see what you get.
Yeah, that's a thing, right? Like that's another thing. You know, you can get, for example, even like accessing residency, you know, becoming a US citizen through your LLC as well too, you know. I'm not 100% sure on how that works, but I know you can get a work visa for sure. Yeah, that's 100% sure. But in terms of like, everybody thinks that you have to like get married to somebody when you come into the US, right? But then even me, I've done a lot of research too, and it's a situation where you can legit set up you can get a lawyer. Well, you're gonna need an LLC, but you get a US entity, you get an entity in the country that you're coming from. You have the entity in the country you're coming from own the US entity, and then you can actually send workers here, you know, because you're creating more jobs in the US, right? And it's basically a situation where you can get your residency after 2 years, you know, and you just have to be hiring people in the US and just contributing to the economy, you know, paying your taxes and stuff like that. You get a social security number, you get your green card, all of that.
Yeah,
You know?
that's awesome.
That's another sauce as well too, you know.
Yeah.
But that situation where you were mentioning creating an LLC and then even taking yourself up, you know, that's something I think that a lot of the audience would actually benefit from too.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing as well too, right? All right. So you're saying the first step, you're saying for a person who is coming here from whichever country that they're coming here, you know, you're saying that they should establish an LLC first. That's the first step. And the second step would have been to just remind me of it.
I mean, look, the best thing to do is open up an LLC.
Yeah.
And if you're generating money already, then just put all your money through the LLC, open up 2 to 3 checking accounts. You start building history with these banks. Maybe 3 months go by after you open up these checking accounts, you have money going in, you have money spending, and then you go and you could apply for these credit cards, you know, no doc loans as well, as long as you have like decent relationship and money in these accounts, because all lenders want to see is that you know you have cash and that you're working and there's history here. You know, if you have a bank account that's got $10,000 going into every single month, but at the end of every statement there's $0 in the account, you're making money, but the money is gone at the end of the month.
Yeah,
lenders don't like to see that. They like to see money just sitting there, you know, as well as you making money going out, active LLC, active business, you know.
Okay.
And once you're able to establish that, you can go and get credit cards after 3 months with like a bunch of credit unions, or Chase is an amazing bank as well. Chase is a little stricter though, but.
What about, so you're saying that a person can access credit without an ITIN or a social security number?
Yeah, through LLC.
Through LLC. So what would that process be like?
The best way to do it without, because you don't have a social, would be like through opening up a foreign grantor trust.
Yeah.
You could get a foreign grantor trust. You can base it in whatever.
I didn't know that one.
You don't know what that is?
I didn't know that.
So a foreign grantor trust is basically like it's an entity, because every LLC that is created is actually an entity and is treated like a person. It's called fictitious entity. And basically it's treated like a person. It gets its own social security number, which is your EIN. You're able to buy houses with that, get credit cards, get cars, get house, like anything, you feel me? Anything with that. Yeah. And you don't need a social for that. So you can get a foreign grantor trust, create your trust documents. You can find them online, or you can reach out to me. I'll help you set everything up. Yeah. And then you use that to get your LLC. You open up your LLC, no social security, because you use the foreign grantor trust to open up that entity. And then you start operating through that LLC. Like I mentioned, you open up those 3 bank accounts, you build history for 3 months, and then you can go open up credit cards with them. Once the LLC is structured properly, which is the EIN, Duns and Bradstreet number, everything's registered correctly, you know?
So let me ask you, right? Because this is touching on some topics that I've been doing a heavy research on, because like I legit started to build my US credit from like last year, which is 2023. And it's a situation where I'm able to access an Amex card. I got 2 Amex cards. Well, 3. I got a gold, the platinum, and I got another one, right? And I access it through my business. And then also I have some secure cards, and I started off even with a Navy Federal card. I started off that with like probably $200 secured. Yeah. And then they gave me a higher limit based on the spending after a while, you know, and stuff like that, right? In terms of, you know, the type of credit card that you should get, and in terms of like the payment and making sure that you're in good standing and stuff like that. Because a lot of people don't know how to pay their cards, when to pay their cards, how to stay in good standing, how to level up from, okay, I had a $200 secured deposit. How do I get to like 10,000, 20,000? Right, how do I start accessing funding from these different institutions? For sure. Yeah. How would you guide them towards the process of, okay, increasing their credit card limits, accessing different type of funding? Right. And how would you guide them towards paying off that, so that they can actually have an exceptional payment history, as well as just maintaining a good relationship with the banks?
So, a credit profile, a credit score is basically compiled of a bunch of other little factors, which is like your payment history, your utilization, how many accounts you have open, if you have any derogatory marks, inquiries. All this stuff is what creates that score, what creates that number. And, personal credit is something that's very, very strong, because if you have personal credit.
I know you enjoyed this video, but Pro Traders Fund is offering traders more capital to trade. So you don't have to use your own money. You're able to trade risk-free, keep up to 90% of the profits you make. Plus, you're able to withdraw weekly, bi-weekly, instantly. You're able to trade on your own comfort anywhere in the world, right? So visit the link in the description. Visit Pro Traders Fund, get funded today, start trading, risk-free, pro traders fund.
You can open up a LLC, and then within 3 months, you can get a bunch of funding because you're personally guaranteeing it against your own credit.
Yeah.
So what does a good credit report look like? Regardless if it's for personal or business, it's like you want to have at least 10 open accounts. So you want to have 10 credit card accounts or an auto loan or mortgage, any sort of credit that is going to be, given to you.
Yeah.
10 different accounts, and you're going to want everything below 10% utilization in order for you to have that to have a good impact on your score. Everyone always preaches like, oh, you need to have below 30% utilization, but below 30% utilization is not helping you, but it's not hurting you.
Yeah.
Below 10% is actually having a positive impact on your score.
Yeah.
So these are all called like data points, and these lenders are looking at these data points. So you want to have 10 accounts open, below 10% utilization. You want to have 100% payment history. You want to have 2 to 3 inquiries on your account, and you want to have at least 4 years of history. So as long as you have those key things on your credit report, everything checks out. I mean, you can go get as much lending as you want, and obviously you're gonna have to. There's a way to do this stuff. Like there's credit card companies that pull from different credit bureaus. There's 3 different credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
Yeah.
And then there's reporting agencies like Innovis and all these other companies that are basically reporting information to these other bigger credit bureaus.
Yeah.
So if one credit card is going to pull from this one and another credit card is going to pull from that one, then you don't have to worry about worrying about pulling this one and then pulling that one because your credit report looks good.
Yeah.
But there's different hacks. Like you can get on the credit card site at like 11 p.m. when the credit bureaus are closed, and you load up like 5 different websites and you just apply for all 5 of them at the same time between the hours of like 11 and 4 a.m.
And you get everything.
Yeah, I mean, you literally fill out the application.
I think that's
and you
when I got my
press
submit. I think that's when I got my Amex card. I did it after 11 in the night.
Yeah, because the credit report is frozen at that time, So they're gonna check it, and it's gonna be like there's no inquiry on it, there's no nothing. Oh, approved, and then the next morning when everything updates, everything hits your credit report. But at that point, you already have access to all the credit cards.
So who the fuck cares? And they're not gonna take it back from you.
Nah, they're not gonna take it back. Chase has this thing where if you can open up 2 credit cards within I think it's 12 months, 4 credit cards in 24 months, and then 6 credit cards after that. But if you do more than that period of time, they'll close the account. Yeah, Chase is like that, but other credit card companies aren't like that.
So when you speak about lending, are you speaking about like SBA loans, or are you talking about like no-doc loans?
Everything. When I'm talking about lending, I'm just talking about you getting access to credit, because at the end of the day, like lenders are, your credit card providers, your banks, everyone, they're all lenders at the end of the day. You're getting a loan, you're getting access to money. So that's really what I mean when I say lenders.
Yeah, because I used to see some people on Instagram, for example, like I used to see this one guy posted like, hey man, just went to Navy Federal and I got like $50K in no-doc funding and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, how did you do that?
Nah, for sure. I mean, I scroll through TikTok all the time, and all I see is like, yo, you want to learn how to rob the bank for free? Follow these steps, this, that, and the third. And at the end of the day, like, there's gonna be hundreds of people that tell you, I could get you $50K in no-doc loans, and like 50% of them are telling you the truth, 50% of them are just regurgitating what they hear. Yeah. But it's definitely possible, and one guarantee that you get it is structuring your credit profile the correct way, like I had just mentioned.
Yeah, and your credit profile is like your Dun & Bradstreet for your business, your Experian and your TransUnion. Which other one is there? No.
So it's your LLC. You get your LLC open. You pick a state that's best for you to open it up. And then you register that LLC with the county and everything. Yeah. And then you get your EIN number from the IRS for free. And then you go on dunsandbradstreet.com, dnb.com, and you get your Duns & Bradstreet number for free. Yeah. And that's pretty much a really good structure for LLC. And then from there, you can go ahead and open up trade lines. There's credit building companies out there that for like 10, 15, 20, 30, $50, there's different packages. The more you pay, the more access to credit you get on your report. So you can pay like $30 a month and they'll report that you're paying a $5,000 loan on your business when you're really not. For just $30 a month for 12 months, they'll say you got a $5,000 loan, you paid it off in those 12 months, and it'll reflect on your business really, really well. And that's gonna be one account. Like how I mentioned, you need 10 accounts, that will count as one account. And there's multiple businesses just like that. There's also businesses like Rental Karma, which is like super free sauce out there for a lot of you guys. It reports rental history to your credit
Like
report.
car rental, house rental. And stuff
Just
like
house rentals, yeah. So if you're renting a house, it will report the rental history on your credit report. So imagine you're paying $2, $3, $4, $5, even $1,000 a month for the last 2 years, the last year. That's 12, 24 good payments that you've made. It's gonna go really good on your history. You could boost up your score 100 points, and it's also gonna help with the age of your credit profile. And like, let's say you don't rent, a little hack is that you just get a family member or a friend that owns a house. You call, you say, yeah, I've been living there paying rent for the last X amount of time, paying this amount of money. The company is just gonna call the homeowner to make sure everything lines up, and they're gonna put it on your credit. You don't have to worry about them reporting that information to anyone else but these credit bureaus. So it's an amazing hack for people trying to build their credit quick.
What about short-term rentals? If you can't do that with it.
I mean, yeah, like I said, you just have to find someone that's gonna get on the phone with the company and and tell them that this is correct.
Well, we do spend a lot of money on short-term rentals. We spend what people spend probably, the properties out here is like, if we're supposed to rent a property for like a month, it's gonna be like 10 to 15K for the really good ones, 10 to 20K for the really good ones that we want, right? And I like luxury, right? And that's the only thing I would be interested in. So it's like short-term rentals now, like for example, a few days, it's costing us like probably like a 5 or still 10 grand. So that's why I was like so interested in like buying a couple stuff, here and then just re-renting it through different things, So now that you mentioned, okay, all the money that I've spent over the months just traveling, I could be like, yo, can you put that on my credit report?
Heck yeah, no, for sure. It would have been better for you to just lease a spot for like 6 or 10 months or 12 months and then sublease it, while you're not here, just rent it out to someone else. And then you could have reported all that on your credit through the landlord.
Bro, like we're literally gonna be saucing tonight,
For sure.
I got a bunch of shit. I gotta show you all the bank statements, everything, and then we just run it up, bro. Because like I'm making way too much money to still be spending my money, bro.
Right.
And I want to reach the highest peak of a level.
Right.
And that's gonna come through credit. Like my money is money, but having access to like a credit line where I can just call on. For example, I need $1 million rather than going in my pocket and spending that $1 million. I could do that I could use it to do something else.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So that's the type of vibe that I'm actually on right now. And that's why I actually started to try to build my credit from last year. Came to the US the first time last year. First thing I did, open a bank account. And the second thing I did was, okay, let me get a secure card. Yes, I got a secure card. But the year before, I actually got an ITIN because I never had a social, so I got ITIN. But now you're actually showing me how to get a social, which is having either my company employ me or somebody's company employ me, And then, but I'm gonna be an employee for a little while. But I'm okay with it because I get my social, right?
Right.
And then the social, that gonna be with you forever, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That gonna be with you forever. So that was my process, So I got that and I actually, so it was even, Glenn was even reminding me of a site last night and I didn't even remember that I had it and I didn't even know it was a trade line because I'm getting to understand the terms. So this was like NAV, for example, right? So I paid for the NAV on a monthly, and I think that's how I was able to actually build up my business credit.
Yeah, that's like a credit building website,
Yeah, so I got the Dun & Bradstreet number, and because I never really understood what was the purpose of a Dun & Bradstreet number, what was the purpose of a NAV. I just knew that, okay, they said I'm going to report to my stuff on a monthly. Okay, where do they report? Whatever, right? So you could even just break down the structure of, okay, just the reporting, the Dun & Bradstreet, the purpose of each. You could just run that through for us.
So basically the best thing to do is, like I said, open up your LLC and then you get your EIN number, which is like your social for your business. The Dun & Bradstreet number is basically what's gonna create your credit score for your business because there's no such thing as like you put in your EIN and it gives you a credit score. That's what the Dun & Bradstreet number, it develops a score called your paydex score. And that's basically what your credit score is. Like anything above an 80 is really good when it comes to your paydex score. So what the Dun & Bradstreet number enables you to do is just build up that paydex score. So when it comes time to your presenting your business to the bank or lenders, they're gonna see that you have a really good track record.
So why do the websites ask me to enter like the EIN still?
Because your EIN is linked to your business, just like your Duns and Bradstreet. But the EIN is what the Social Security, what the IRS is going to be using to tax you and make sure that they're keeping an eye on your numbers, basically. So if you're making money, the EIN is what's going to register with the IRS. They're going to be able to track all that. So at the end of the year, when you do your taxes, you use your EIN. Because remember, the Duns and Bradstreet number it's its own. It's like from a third party. It's not a government company. Yeah. It's a credit company. So the IRS as well. The IRS is not part of the government. It's actually its own entity. It's its own third party.
So let me ask you, right? In terms of your taxes help a lot with your credit?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when it comes to refinancing and buying houses, they're gonna look at your tax returns. When you go get a mortgage, they're gonna ask for your tax returns, which gets a little complicated when you don't have a social or you're not doing your taxes every year.
Okay. I'm actually looking at that right now.
But there's ways around that. Like I said, if you have an LLC and you don't have good credit, it doesn't even matter. As long as we find, let's say, for example, if we're dealing with real estate, if we find a really nice house and there's a opportunity to make some money, lenders are going to see that and they're going to lend you the money based off of the equity that is in the home. And the home is what's going to be the collateral. If you default on the loan, they're just going to keep the house, Yeah. So it's an amazing opportunity to make money when it comes to dealing with real estate, because you're able to get access to funding regardless if your credit is good or bad. It just you just need to have a good deal, and you also need to have the money to put the down payment, because a lot of these hard money lenders are going to do like 80 or 70% loan to value. So you're going to have to still put down 10, 20, 30%.
So what's the interest rate like on a loan like that?
Standard is going to be anywhere from 10 to 12%.
Per what month and per year?
Or on a yearly basis, yeah.
All right, so the thing is, right, that's great. That's really great to know. So it's just since I've created like the Dun and Bradstreet number for my business and I got the EIN and all of that, and I've been like trying to build credit, I realized I've been getting a lot of calls. So at one point I wasn't answering any calls, right? And I'm like, I stopped answering. I thought it was a scam, like people trying to scam me. Hey man, I'm calling to give you this amount of money, blah, 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 right? Then one day I decided, let me listen to them and stuff. I did some research on the companies that were calling me, found out the names and the people and stuff like that. Okay, these are legitimate companies, right? So then I said, all right, cool. Let me see what you guys have to offer. So one of them wanted to give me like $100,000 US, right? Based on my bank statement, said they could give me up to 500K or even more. And they wanted like probably 20% per month.
Jeez, 20% interest?
Per month. And I'm like, no.
Yeah,
that don't make no sense to me.
Those are like MCA loans. MCA loans like typically are going to be based off of the income that your company has.
Yeah.
And they're like the worst type of loans you can get. They're called merchant cash advances. That's basically what is the cash advance.
Stuff and stuff like that.
It's for people that need money quick. Like I need 50 grand a day to make a move and make 100 grand and I'm gonna pay you back tomorrow. Like that's the type of those are the type of loans that serve those people.
Okay. So you recommend staying away from them?
I mean, yeah, like I said, if you're not a person that's gonna get 50K today and triple it or double it by next week, is not for you.
Yeah, because you'd end up pay the
like for example, let's say we're a banquets company, and we got a banquets play, we got a huge booking, and we're gonna rent a venue and get this merchandise, and we need a big team, but I need 30K to make it happen so that I can make 70K. Yeah. I go to a merchant cash advance, I get the 30K, I make the play happen, I get paid. Next week, I'm already paying the loan back.
Yeah. It's like a loan chart.
Basically, yeah.
Basically, high interest rate.
Right.
Okay, so all right, so those are the ones that have been calling me, and then I actually met somebody else now, which based on my bank statements and stuff like that, said that they could actually get me access to lines of credit and a bunch of stuff, and they'll talk to the private lenders and stuff like that, and they actually put me onto something where they were saying something about like a credit partner, because I don't have a social security number as yet, right? I have my ITIN and I have my business EIN, so they were mentioning like some credit partner situation where you have companies that you can actually, the companies can actually co-sign for you on your business and then give you access to their credit history.
Right.
So that you can actually you can actually get access to, for example, cars, houses, and a bunch of other stuff, or just capital.
Those are basically just like trade lines. It's basically like a co-sign on like a car, it's basically another business just co-signing for you, which you could definitely gain from, but you could do the same thing with just building up your credit and buying trade lines, and then you don't have to worry about paying interest rates or whatever comes with that.
Bro, I feel like I want to finish the podcast right now and just dive into it. That's how I feel, but I got to get together this knowledge, from Zuri. I got to get it to you from Zuri. All right, so Zuri, before we close off the pod, right, what are probably the 5 tips that you'd leave with somebody that actually want to, build their credit?
All right, for sure. The best things that I could tell for anyone to want to build their credit is really just, like I said, make sure that your credit report is clean. You want to do a credit sweep and get all the derogatory marks, anything in collections, anything that is repossessed or bankruptcies, anything like that removed off your credit. That's the first step. If you don't have anything like that, then, big up, because you don't have to worry about sweeping nothing. Yeah. But just because you don't have anything on your credit doesn't mean you have good credit, because I know people that have nothing on their credit report, buy one trade line and their credit's at 750. But they go try to get credit cards and they get denied.
Yeah.
So the best thing is just learn what a credit report is, learn what these trade lines can do, learn these websites like that Glenn told you. What was the name of it?
Nav.
So like Nav is like a perfect company.
You know
for
that
you.
one as well.
Yeah. It's a perfect.
Yeah.
So like, it's an amazing website for you to go in and just build these accounts on your credit. So it costs money, it costs money. It's not free. There's definitely shortcuts you can take. Like I said, if you have a family member or a friend that has good credit, that has a big credit card, ask them to add you as an authorized user. If they add you as an authorized user to the credit card, that credit is gonna, the access to that money is gonna reflect on your account, which is gonna lower your utilization. And the age of that credit card will also reflect on your account. So if you have 10 months or 11 months, it's gonna go to whatever that year on the age on that account is.
Oh, so for example, if I had, for my personal credit card, I have like probably 9 months on it. Remember we were looking at it last night, right? So if I had somebody on it that has great,
you could just buy a trade line. There's websites where you could buy trade lines and you could pick like, I want a American Express that has $30,000 that's been open since 2001.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like $400, $500. You buy it, it gets added onto your credit, and in 30 days, boom, it's on your credit.
How long does it stay?
It depends. Most of them will stay active for like 2 to 3 months. Mm-hmm. But it's gonna stay on it's gonna impact your credit for a long time, for like years. It's gonna stay on your credit for years.
That has been one of the issues too, where because like my payment history is amazing. Like I just got the card, spent over $100,000 within just a few days or within the same month, right? And the only thing that is like causing me to not access other stuff is because it's saying like, I've not had sufficient history. Right. That's the main thing we saw on it last night, right? I don't have sufficient history, but I do have the payment history, and the payment history is 100%.
Yeah, so these trade lines are gonna get you on point, and like I said, you might need like 1 or 2 of them if you don't have 10 accounts open.
Yeah.
But it's definitely gonna help you get access to more funding. And then I always like to preach, bro. It's credit, funding, real estate equals freedom. And that's really what it is.
Credit, real estate equals freedom.
Yeah. Because rich stands for residual income creates happiness.
Yeah.
So and a big thing that I like to say is OPM, other people's money. Like these are little catchphrases that I repeat to myself.
Yeah.
And it's how it is. If you're using other people's money to risk it, like you're about to not only increase your return on your investment, but you're also going to minimize the risk of you entering that investment, that project. Because let's say you have to invest $200,000 into a house to buy it and flip it. You can get a hard money lender to finance you only need $20,000.
Yeah.
You're gonna make $60,000 off that flip. If you were gonna invest $200,000 into that, your return is gonna be like shit, like 10%, like you barely, But
then it's gonna take time too,
Exactly.
And you could have been doing stuff with the money,
Exactly.
And that's the position that I'm in, because it's like I remember even at one point back in Jamaica, I spent about $1 million in a month, right? Just buying up some stuff. And then it's a situation where I was like, damn, imagine if I had credit.
But that's the beauty. What did you buy?
I was buying properties and just some other expenses and stuff like that.
So that's the beauty of it, is that because you pay for it cash, you could just go and refinance it and get your cash right back.
They don't do that back home.
Nah,
they don't do that.
Word.
That's why I love it here. I love it here, but like the thing about Miami, and I said this a lot on like since I've been here, and after the start in a video, right? If you come to Miami and you're broke, you're bound to get rich once you're networking with the right people, right?
Fact.
And if you come here rich, you're about to get super rich. And it's a fact, because, for example, I'm learning something from you. I've learned a lot of things from a lot of car guys here because I'm into cars heavily too, you know, and I've learned a lot from like different real estate management companies and stuff like that, you know. And then even Glenn was running some ideas by me yesterday, and even like marketing, I did a podcast today with Gary, you know, Gary the numbers guy,
yeah.
G33 Academy. Did a podcast with him today, and we sat down after the podcast, bro, and it was like, my brain was like melting, bro. You get, because there was so much knowledge, you know, and different things. So it's like, you just have to put yourself in the right environment and stuff. But if you were supposed to start over right now, right, what would be the strategy that would get you to where you want to get to, or this exact level in a year?
Right. Shit, if I were to start over right now, knowing what I know, I would go straight into wholesale real estate.
Wholesale real estate.
Wholesale real estate is basically dealing with contracts and it's contract assignment.
Yeah.
So I find a really good deal for X amount of money, and I find an investor that's willing to pay $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 more, and I just assign the contract to him and take whatever the profit is.
So how do you get into like something like that, and how do you find it? How do you pair the two? How do you find an investor, and how do you find the property?
The best way to do it, the cleanest way to do it, is the way that I used to do it, is you go to the public records in your county.
Yeah.
When you want to find deals, you ask, sometimes they give it to you online, depending on what county. Sometimes you have to go in person.
Yeah.
You ask for all the delinquent tax properties. So all the properties that are tax delinquent, you know, and they give you like thousands of properties, and you upload that into, you know, Excel, and you filter it out for all the properties that are delinquent above $5,000.
Yeah.
And you go on a website like PropStream, which is like MLS for regular people. Mm-hmm. You can do a 7-day free trial and skip trace all those properties and get a phone number and an email for the owners registered on the records. And you literally just cold call them, or you hire a virtual assistant for $500, $300 a month, and you tell them to text and call all these people, and you'll get the best fucking off-market deals that way. I still do that to this day.
Yeah.
I still do that.
But I gotta get into that business.
Yeah, and then when you want to find buyers, you go to the county again and you ask for access to all the public records of all the homes that were purchased in the county cash.
Yeah.
And you put that again into an Excel, and you filter all the properties above like 500,000 to talk, you know, to make sure you're talking to people that have big money.
Yeah.
And you call all those fucking people with your deals, you know?
Okay, so that's where you find the deals, the properties, and that's where you find the investors for the property. Bro, that's crazy, bro. That's some deep type of reverse engineering.
And then like, bro, like you could literally generate all those leads and use them, or you can just sell them, you know, because the majority of the leads that people are buying online for real estate, this is how they're generated. You know, it's all from data that has been pulled from these public domains, these public records, and just, you know, put into a list
of a new business. Real talk, bro. And then even a lot of those things, without having to find investors for them, like, you know, we could invest in them ourselves.
Definitely, 100%. Bro, I used to make like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month off of like 1 or 2 deals in my fucking underwear at home, bro. Like literally like
pajama billionaire.
T-shirt in my fucking underwear, talking to these people, like, you know what I mean? And it's crazy like how far you can get with over the phone sales, you know, because I'm talking to people that are like 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're like, man, I wish I was like you. You must have 10, 20 years of experience in this market. And it's funny because I'm fucking 24 years old, and these people are like 50 years old. That's, you know, crazy, they think like I'm older and shit. It's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. And then the knowledge that you have from selling at Nordstrom, and then getting that sales course. It was a course you got, or just a mentor?
I've been to a bunch of trainings. I've been to a bunch of seminars, like Grant Cardone, his 10X.
That guy's rough. Grant Cardone is like rough when it comes to like.
Nah, he's a closer. That boy is a hard closer. You go to one of his events, and there's like 100 of his staff members there walking around just trying to sell you his packages. And like they all know each other, so you'll be like, oh no, I bought it from that guy over there. But oh yeah, what's his name? Oh, let's go over there. Let's make sure you got taken care of. And you're like, damn.
If you didn't buy it, you have to buy it now, because they're pressuring you. There's a lot of pressure.
Nah, they do an amazing job. I'm not gonna lie, but that's really how you have to be. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, it's really everyone for themselves, you know, and you not wanting to pick up the phone and call that person 10 times is going to give the opportunity for someone like me that's willing to call that person 100 fucking times until they close for me to get that deal, you know?
Yeah. So let me ask you, where have you gotten knowledge from also, in terms of like you got knowledge from Grant Cardone, but who else have you gotten knowledge from in terms of like you being at the level that you're at right now that you could probably reference, just to make it easier for when people coming to you and have that mindset, because podcasts and just books and stuff like that kind of trains a person's mindset so that when they come to you, the big dog,
right,
the expert at what you're doing, right? It's like it's a lot easier for you to actually do business with them or communicate with them, because they would have already been prepped from the different content. So where are some other sources of information that people can actually dive into right now before coming to you?
To be honest, I mean, look, the one thing that has changed my life was this one book I picked up when I was like 17 years old. Yeah. And it's called The Master Key System.
Let me get that on Amazon. Let me on my phone.
The Master Key System.
Let me get that. I'm going to get that right now, bro.
It's similar to the book Think and Grow Rich, you know? But that book like is insane. That book teaches you how to manifest anything you want into reality.
The Master Key System.
The Master Key System, yeah. It's a crazy book. I've read it like 10, 20 times. It's like a red book. Yeah, that's
all 28 parts, the Master Key System.
Yep. So the book is structured in a challenge, and every chapter is like a different challenge, and it's like a 6-month like challenge basically. Yeah. And like, or it's a little longer than 6 months. I've done it shorter than that, but it teaches you basically how to take control of your mind and how to have all these negative thoughts just like completely vanish. Because when you're thinking of something, let's say like, I want to become a real estate millionaire, you're immediately going to think like, oh, you can't even clean your room in the morning. How are you going to do that? Oh, your mom has to tell you to do this 20 times before you do this and that. Like you're really going to start talking yourself down, and you yourself will believe that. You're like, you know what, I'm not, let me just keep working at my job. You know, like you really have to, the self-talk, the man that you see in the mirror, the woman that you see in the mirror, you know, like, it is the person that you need to push and motivate. You know, if you're not waking up every morning and telling yourself, I'm a fucking millionaire, I'm the fucking man, I'm gonna walk in that fucking room and close this fucking deal. Like before we did the podcast, you feel me, we were getting that energy right and shit, you know what I mean?
I'm the man!
Exactly, you feel me? Like bro, if you do not wake up every single morning like that, you will not take over the world.
I promise you, bro, and I say you're taking over the world, bro, because your Instagram is popping right now too. But what other platforms are you on, and where can people find you on the internet?
For sure. I mean, Instagram is my main platform, and then I have Telegram communities that I run, and then I have partners with other people. But I'm mainly just on Instagram and